We are live. One more sleep until we tee it up at the Black Desert Championship out in Utah. We have power. We're safe for now, at least. I am not. I don't think I'm in the hurricane trajectory, but we're definitely getting some rain, and there's some tornadoes near. So I hope I don't lose power during the stream. We've been cooking so far the last 2 days, just chilling in the house, but I can see it getting worse as the hours go by. So I saw one comment, but yeah, we're not in the path. I think we're going to be okay for the next few days and get to watch some golf. So quick stream here. Just wanted to get on here and figure out the final thoughts, go through some of the player interviews, and talk about some plays, some DFS thoughts, and some bets before we tee it up at this new golf course that we're seeing for the first time ever. I'm sure if you're watching the show, you've seen the pictures of this Black Desert Resort. Looks like a place you'd want to go with the buddies on a golf trip to. It is insane, like quite literally insane. The lava rock surrounding the fairways and the rough is something I've never seen before. So that's going to lead me into the first player interview. We had interviews from Nick Taylor, Zach Blair, and Patrick Fishburne, which is some of the worst 3 interviews I could ever imagine in a PGA Tour event, but that's what we got this week, so we gotta take it for what it's worth. All 3 of them mentioned how important it is to just keep the ball in play off the tee. If you're in the rocks, if you're in the rough, if you're in the whatever you want to call it, the lava rock, you're probably going to be having to hit a provisional and losing strokes, obviously. So that is step 1. Get your ball in play off the tee. Whether you want to look at that as driving accuracy, guys, whether you want to look at that as total driving guys who are going to hit it both long and straight, whatever you want to do, I think key is getting the ball in the fairway. I do still think there's a path for both short hitters off the tee and both bombers to climb to the top of the leaderboard if they are hitting fairways. So I'm not dialing in on, all right, you need to be a bomber, you need to be a plotter, but you have to have a week in which you're gaining strokes off the tee, whether that's gaining strokes with distance and accuracy or gaining strokes with just accuracy. So from there, I still think it's going to boil down to a approach and putting fest because Nick Taylor and Patrick Fishburne mentioned how big these greens are. So definitely you're going to have to hit your spots on the green. And then from there, putting to these subtle breaks, as Nick Taylor said. So it's going to go down to 2 of those things, as I talked about earlier in the week, and as I still think it's going to be the case as we go on. Patrick Fishburne mentioned that these greens are really big, like I said, but they're going to put these flags in like small pockets of the green, so you're going to have to hit your spots on your approach shot. So that being said, it's going to be approach, it's going to be putting. Those are the 2 key stats, but I do think it's going to be more of a well-rounded test than maybe we were thinking going into the week because it is a resort course, but you have to hit the fairways, you have to be precise with your irons, and you can't be scared to take it low because there's going to be guys who are doing step 1 and step 2, and then there's going to be that 10 to 15 guys who are just rolling all those 10 to 15 footers in. So I still think it's going to be around minus 20 that wins this event, but after what Fishburne and Nick Taylor said, get the ball in play off the tee. That is priority. So let's talk about some bets. I'm not going to go through every single bet I made, but you know where to find those bets at Jersey Betting on Twitter. But I want to talk about maybe 2 guys sub 40-1 and then a long shot that I bet. I'm going back to JJ Spawn at 40-1. JJ Spawn was a guy who was really chalky last week, and he withdrew after round 1 or during round 1, whatever, and he had his first losing approach week since March, which is crazy to think about. But with JJ Spawn, I do not think he would be playing this event if he wasn't healthy. So if you throw out last week, he's on a generational run of ball striking, and that's at a golf course where you have to hit the fairway, you have to be good in approach. JJ Spawn can do that, and he can definitely get hot with the putter. So I like him at 40-1. We're getting that dip in price after he was around like 25 to 30 last week in a virtually similar field, maybe even worse field. So I'm definitely down for some JJ at 40-1. And then I like Michael Thorbjornsen as well. I mentioned his name before, 38-1. I love what he's doing off the tee, and I love what he's doing on the putting greens. The approach play has been pretty weak from Thorbjornsen, but if he's striping the ball off the tee, he's going to give himself a ton of wedges this week, and I trust him to hit wedges and go low rather than hitting middle irons like he has on some other golf courses that he's played recently. So Thorbjornsen, if he's striping it, he'll have a ton of wedges, and then he can get hot with the putter. A long shot I like. I'm going back to Lee Hodges. I bet Lee Hodges last week, I think at 80-1. He's dipped to 100-1. He did not play well last week, but he had his second best approach week of 2024. And if you're giving me a PGA Tour winner at 100-1 in a shit field coming off of his second best iron week of the year, I'll take it. Like, this guy knows how to win. He knows how to get low. And his stats from last week proved that his game is close. So I'm down 100-1 Lee Hodges. Going to talk about some DFS thoughts in the top of the. Obviously, I have a whole DFS show, but just some closing thoughts. I'm growing less and less on Keith at 10-6 because his price is still the top dog, but I don't think his ceiling is as high as it was. Or sorry, I don't think his floor is as high as it was last week. Last week, I thought his floor was around like T6, and he ended up finishing third. I think that dips down to like 12 or 10, and where that still might be able to cash for you if he finishes 12 or 10th in your lineups, he got a price bump, and it could definitely a price bump and a ownership bump, so it definitely could be a help to you to fade Keith. I don't mind Kurt, who's at 10-2, $400 less, or Seamus at 10-3. Seamus had a sneaky T11 at the Sanderson Farms. He gained in every single category, and there's no reason he cannot do it again and finish T8 or better. So I'm definitely down for some Seamus. He's probably my favorite play in this 10K range. In the 9K range, I really like Lucas Glover at 9,000. He's not garnering a ton of ownership, which is crazy, but he's hitting it well and he's putting. If you're telling me Lucas Glover is putting, you know what you're going to get tee to green. You know he's going to hit a ton of fairways. You know he's going to hit a ton of greens. And the guy who's virtually one of the worst putters to live has gained on the greens in 2 straight weeks. That's a great sign for Glover. So I'm down for him at $9,000. He's kind of going under the radar. Above him is at 9.9 Eric Van Rooyen. I don't love him this week. I usually love EVR in these weak fields, but he's finally priced in a spot where he should be. I would agree. And although Eric Van Rooyen's a good player, he's not a lock by any means to finish in the top 10, and now he's priced where he has to finish inside the top 10 or top 20. So I'm definitely out on Eric Van Rooyen. He's not playing the best golf right now. 8K range, like I said, I like Glover in the 9K range. 8K range, I like Andrew Novak at 8-1. He provides a safe floor and he's got a nice ceiling at the price point. The 8K range is very spread out in ownership. If I like Michael Thorbjornson and JJ Spawn, like I said. But at the bottom of the 8K range, I feel like Novak's solid. Svensson at 8-2 feels like a forgotten man. He was bad on approach last week, but he usually bounces back well in that category. 7K range, I think this is a week where Alexander Bjork can make some noise. This is definitely not a Bjork golf course, there's definitely not many Bjork golf courses, but this is one of them, and we don't get many chances to say Alexander Bjork might play well this week, and I think this could definitely be a week. 6K range, I'm not going to go through the 6K range because I have an entire show dedicated to that. So if you're looking for the 6K plays, just go back to a video or two and you'll see the 6K plays is just like a 5-minute video. So check that out. But yeah, that basically wraps it up. I wanted to just go through some closing thoughts on the interviews, finish on those key stats, go through some bets. But if you want all the bets, you guys know where to find them. Drew's Way Betting Twitter. And yeah, let's cash one this week. We didn't have a great sweat last week, but we've hit a ton of fall winners. So let's do it again this week. We'll tee it up, I think, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Either way, that about wraps it up. Gonna watch this Mets game. Gonna hopefully keep the power going, and I'll catch you guys Friday or Saturday with the halfway point update. Any questions, you know where to find me. Peace out.